day, learners. My name is Bea Siliabore. Together with my co-reporter, Ms. Hikaina Joy Labdo, we're going to discuss to you the Chapter 6 entitled Learners with Additional Needs. Before we proceed, allow me first to read to you our objectives. So at the end of the lesson, the students can first identify the various additional needs learners might have. Second is differentiate the additional needs from one another. And lastly is to recognize the characteristics of learners with additional needs. So the first topic we're going to discuss is the learners who are gifted. So, learners who are gifted and talented are students with higher abilities than average and are often referred to as gifted students. So, this group refers to students whose talents, abilities, and potentials are developmentally advanced. So, in short, the learners or children with disabilities significantly above the norm. And according to the National Associations for Gifted Children, gifted and talented children may perform above the norm in creative, artistic, intellectual, or leadership domain, and specific academic subject like, for example, in mathematics, science, and the language arts. And if you are gifted or talented, it means you have the academic or creative abilities that are above normal or above the norm. And the main challenge here of a teacher or as a teacher is to on how they're going to present unexciting exercises in order to keep those talented and creative or gifted students to be motivated. And these students is they can finish the task they can finish the given task ahead of time compared to those who are an average students. So that is the gifted and talented students. And I have a question for you. What can you say or how can you differentiate the gifted and talented students? So when we say gifted, it refers to a students with extraordinary abilities in various academic areas. And for the talented, they focuses on students with extraordinary abilities in specific areas. So next, there are also another way to look into a giftedness, which is conceptualized by Howard Gardner. So according to him, intelligence is multifaceted concept comprised of 9 distinct intellectual modalities. So later on, we're going to discuss what are those 9 intelligence of Howard Gardner. So these are the 9 intelligence defined by Howard Gardner. So first is we have the verbal or the linguistic learner. So they are the picture smart. So they think or they learn through thinking virtually and organizing ideas spatially. So they learn truths or they learn best or more by seeing concepts and actions in order to understand them. So the ability to see things in order or one's mind and planning to create a productive or to solve a problem. So that is the verbal. They are the picture smart students or learners. And next intelligence is the mathematical or the logical. So they learn through reasoning and problem solvings and numbers. Next is we have the musical. So the musicals, they learn through a song, the patterns, the rhythms, instruments, and musical expressions. And second is the visual or spatial learner. So these learners visually and organizing ideas spatially. So they think in images and pictures and see things in one's mind. And next we have the bodily and kinesthetic. So they are the body smart. So they learn through more in the hands-on approaches. So they're learning through with one's interaction and environment and learners through interaction with one's environment, so they learn through a concrete experiences. Next, we have the intrapersonal. So this is or they learn through a feelings, the values, and attitudes in order to understand other people. So when we say intrapersonal, it is in ourself or they are the self-smart. So they are the ownership of their own learning. And next we have is interpersonal. So in contrast to interpersonal, the interpersonal it is or they are the people smart. So they learn through with interactions with others. So they learn through by working collaboratively and cooperatively with one another or to each other. And next is we have the naturalist intelligence. So naturalists, they are the nature smart. So they learn through classifications. We have the categories and hierarchies. So they have the ability to pick up on subtle differences. And lastly is existentialist. So this kind of intelligence is they learn or they're learning by seeing the big pictures or connects the real world understandings and application to the new learning. So then existentialists, they are the spirit smart. So they seeing or learning by seeing the big picture. So that's the 9 intelligence according to Howard Gardner. So next is the identification. So to identify the gifted and talented students, one must do the following. So first is to locate the student's domain of giftedness. So in here, the domain of giftedness is like, for example, intellectual, the academic, the creative, the leadership, and the artistics. That's the domains of giftedness. So we should locate those domains of giftedness of the students. Next is to describe the student's level of giftedness. So in here, we can describe their level of giftedness through, for example, the IQ test. So we have this IQ test, level of IQ test. So first we have the mildly gifted. Their IQ is in range from 111 to 130. And next is the moderately. So their IQ is from 130 to 145. And the last is the highly gifted. So their IQ is raised from 145 to 160. And lastly is to describe the student's field of talent. So in here, we can identify their field of talents, just like, for example, the creativeness, or they are good in music, they are good in sports, or in leaderships. So that's all about my report. And for the next topic will be discussed by our next reporter, which is Shekinah Joy Labdo.
So again, good day everyone. I am Shekinah Joy Dikinya Labto and I will be continuing the discussion of Miss Liavori about the Gardner's Multiple Intelligent, letter C, the learning characteristics. So not all learners will exhibit the learning characteristics that are listed. These are the common manifestation of gifted and talented learners. One might possess a combination of characteristics in varying degrees and amount. Number 1, they will exhibit a high level of intellectual curiosity, reads actively, high degree of task commitment, keen power of observation, high verbal, gets bored easily, can retain and recall information, excited about learning new concepts, independence in learning, good comprehension of complex text, strong, well-developed imagination, looks for new way to do things, and lastly, often gives uncommon response to common questions. So letter D are the strategies for teaching gifted students. So learners who are gifted usually gets bored easily since they have mastered the concepts taught in classes. One thing that is common among gifted students is that they are very inquisitive. Fulfilling the instructional needs may be a challenging task, but these are some suggested strategies for teaching gifted students. Number 1, teacher may give enrichment exercises that will allow learners to study the same topic at the same time at a more advanced level. So when we say of enrichment, it means that the student is working on a topic in a more depth or breadth than others. The student keeps pace with the rest of his or her classmates but has more time to explore topics of interest. Enrichment strategy strategies includes the independent studies, the study contract, mentorship, complete a learning log, create an interest center, specialized grading criteria, enrichment cluster, and lastly, school-wide enrichment. Another thing is that acceleration can let students who are gifted and talented can move at their own pace. This resulting at times to in completing 2 grade level in one school year. So when we say of acceleration, in the world of gifted education, this refers to any means of matching the child's ability and level of motivation with advanced content. Different options for acceleration includes grade skipping, subject acceleration, and curriculum compacting. So another strategy you can use for teaching gifted students are an open-ended activity which has no right or wrong answers that can be provided, emphasizing divergent thinking wherein there are more possibilities than predetermined answer. When we say of divergent thinking, it starts with a prompt that encourages students to think critically, diverging towards distinct answers. So, writing an essay and brainstorming are example of exercises that demands divergent thinking. So another strategy that you can use is the leadership roles. Leadership roles can be given to gifted students since students have shown that gifted students often usually immature. So there is a general belief that being a leader means taking charge, directing activities, telling others what to do, and making decisions for a group. While these tasks do reflect leadership, they are not considered the most important characteristics of a leader. Children who become students in the 21st century will experience a world of constant and ever-increasing speed of change. Information will be more complex and delivered faster than ever before in history. Surprises will be daily occurrences. Gifted leaders of tomorrow will be highly adaptable and ready for any unexpected event or challenge. They will not be simple consumers of information but active producers and innovators. So another strategy you can use is extensive reading on subjects of their own interest may be coordinated with the school librarian to further broaden their knowledge. Extensive reading helps learners to build reading speed and reading fluency. In particular, developing reading speed is important because it helps learners to understand language faster and better. One objective of extensive reading is reading for pleasure. The strategy or the last strategy for teaching gifted students according to the textbook is long-term activities may be provided that will give the gifted students an opportunity to be engaged for an extended period of time. They can write a novel or learn to code, and they can also work on a Wall Street. Thank you for listening and learning with us. God bless and keep safe, everybody.